It's the infield of the Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina, where racing fans come from literally all over America for a three-day holiday that is climaxed by the running of the oldest stock car race in America, the Southern 500. I'm Bill Fleming, and together with Jackie Stewart, we welcome you to this ancient track, this treacherous old lady whose battered walls have given us grim evidence of some of auto racing's most spectacular crashes. It was nearly 3 decades ago, as a matter of fact, that this track was made, carved out of the tobacco and cotton fields of South Carolina, not very far from Florence. And so today, for the 28th time, the world's greatest stock car racers will be trying to win the granddaddy of them all, the Southern 500. Naturally, the fastest cars are bunched right up at the top of the field, and to tell us about them, let's go down and join Jackie Stewart.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. I'm standing in the fourth row, and what a fourth row it is at Darlington. You've got the two Allison brothers side by side. Bobby Allison on the outside, Donnie Allison on the inside. I come up to this row, the third row. What a position we have here. David Pearson, one of the all-time greats in NASCAR racing. And the outside, King Richard Petty. What a position, these two cars head-to-head on the third row. On the second row, again, young charger by some standards, Buddy Baker, a man whose father won at Darlington 3 times. He's won at Darlington twice. Out there, the present champion of NASCAR, the man who's leading this year, the local man, Cale Yarborough. And on the pole, Darrell Waltrip. On the outside, you've got Benny Parsons. And that is the start of Gentlemen, Start Your Engines.
All right, Jackie, and as the balloons go skyward, it's into an overcast sky as we have a very warm, humid, steamy day here in South Carolina with a threat of rain in the air. The car's moving out now. It'll be a long day, 367 tortuous laps. Darrell Waltrip on the pole, who won the Rebel 500 race here in the spring, is hoping for that Darlington double here today. That's a very difficult thing to do. Only 4 men have done it in history. Waltrip qualified at 153 miles an hour plus. There are 40 cars in all, 20 rows of 2, and the 40th qualifier, Mike Kempton, turned in a qualifying speed of 140.5. So that sets the stage. We'll be back for the start in just a moment. 20 rows of 2. All 40 cars are moving behind the pace car as they move through turn 3 and 4. We mentioned Darrell Waltrip on the pole. Outside of him is Benny Parsons, the 4th leading money winner of the year. Then as we move back, Buddy Baker, he hasn't won this race in 7 years, and Cale Yarborough hoping to become one of the first men ever to win 4 Southern 500s. Then, of course, we have David Pearson, who won here a year ago, and Richard Petty, who hasn't won in 10 years here. Now the pace car has moved off, and it looks like we are going to have a green flag and a good start to the 28th running of the Southern 500. And as they move into the first turn, it's Darrell Waltrip on the inside, and getting a challenge from Benny Parsons, but Benny can't quite make it. So it is Darrell Waltrip in the lead, Benny Parsons right behind him, Buddy Baker in third, Cale Yarborough in fourth, then David Pearson and Richard Petty as they head down the backstretch for the first time. And Jackie, that's as clean a start as we've ever seen here.
Every time I'm slightly concerned at this little racetrack with these 40 cars, it looks so busy, so congested. I expect to see an accident on that first or second turn, simply on the basis that it never seems possible that many cars can get through without something happening.
Darrell Waltrip remembers well when he won here in the spring in the Rebel 500. And as I mentioned earlier, it's very difficult to win a double Darlington, to win in the spring and also in the fall. But Darrell Waltrip has set the pace on the pole at 153 plus. He's getting a good challenge here now from Benny Parsons in car number 72. Incidentally, we had 2 Chevys on the front row, a Ford in the Chevy in the second, a Merc and a Dodge in the third, and a Chevy and a Matador in the fourth. So we've got a big spread as far as car makes are concerned.
One of the things we might notice around this track, although it's very cloudy today and there is a big threat of rain, the racetrack already looks very slick, as if it could possibly be wet. This is not the case. In fact, this is just the top surface. They spray that top surface with a sort of tar, and it does look as if it's raining or as if the surface is wet, but it isn't. It's just very slick.
All right, here comes Benny Parsons right on the tail of Darrell Waltrip, and hoping to get into that draft and to try to take Darrell on the turn, but can't quite do it. That is Buddy Baker right behind him, and Cale Yarborough is behind Buddy. And coming up there in 5th place is David Pearson, and now Benny Parsons moves out to the inside. Can he make it through? He does it. It's a beautiful move, Jackie, by Benny Parsons, who gains the lead.
Just got slipped through there, nice as can be. Not easy to pass in this tiny racetrack because there seems only to be one fast groove around it, but certainly Benny made the right move there. Clean as a whistle. There was no indecision there for him.
Jackie, I'm wondering, too, about the strategy in this race. With the heavy clouds hanging overhead, with the threat of rain here any moment, are these drivers going to go all out? They certainly don't want to be behind if it's raining.
Well, they certainly don't want to fall behind, because if rain comes out this early in the race, and there's another pass. Look at this coming through there. What a move, using up a slow back marker there this early in the race. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of people getting to move around. Back markers have got to look into the mirror, but that was a wonderful move by Darrell Waltrip. He really cleaned up there on Benny Parsons.
Maybe you better explain what a back marker is.
Well, these are the people with the slower cars, and of course we've got 40 starting this race. They can't all be fast, so therefore some of the back markers, as we call them, are the slower cars, and they've got to move over when these fast front runners come up.
And that's exactly the situation that we have right here now, as Darrell Waltrip comes by and is trying to get by some of the slower cars in front who are already being lapped. Now, earlier, Darrell Waltrip talked to Jackie Stewart, and Jackie asked him how he felt about being the pole sitter.
Well, it's almost as thrilling as winning the race here back in the spring, Jackie. I'm really looking forward to starting off the pole. You know, this is the world's oldest speedway, and it's a lot of nostalgia and a lot of great things have happened here. I'd like to make it 2 in a row.
Well, he certainly is the man to watch this year, Darrell Waltrip, who won the Rebel 500 in as thrilling a race as has ever been held here at the old Darlington Speedway. All right, as they come around now, we're looking at this second group. Cale Yarborough, David Pearson, Richard Petty, as they come by, chasing the lead cars, Darrell Waltrip and Benny Parsons.
These are certainly big names. And there's smoke coming out. There's smoke coming out of Bobby Allison's car. He's dropped back. You can see that car number 12 there. Suddenly there was that puff of smoke. He must have lifted off the accelerator pedal, and there's smoke again. I'm afraid it doesn't look good for Bobby Allison. The day looks to be finished for him this early in the race. And there's an accident too.
There's an accident between 1 and 2, Jackie, between cars 49 and 92. G.C. Spencer, the oldest driver in the race, in car number 49, and I believe that Skip Manning it is in car number 92.
And Skip Manning, of course, one of the youngest drivers, really a young man going places. He certainly hasn't gone too far today. The car seems fairly crippled. It certainly seems to be okay. There's Spencer's car being able to be driven back to the pits. It's smoking. There's rubber smoke coming out of there. The wheels must be touching, but he seems to be okay.
And so the yellow flag is out for the first time today. That means a rash of pit stops will be coming up. Well, here's a sight we don't see very often. Richard Petty is out of his car, but his car is on the racetrack. He's still suffering from bruises and soreness because of an accident at Bristol last week. In fact, you can see the tape on his chest there. So he has asked Dave Marcus to go back in his car, and Richard is going to get a rest. We'll have Jackie Stewart going down there to talk to him very shortly, but right now we're going to get a green after the accident between Spencer and Manning, and the track has been cleared off, and we do have a green flag. They're racing again under the green with Cale Yarborough in the lead. Darrell Waltrip in second place. David Pearson has moved up to third, and that is Donnie Allison in car number 1 in fourth place. I mentioned earlier that only 4 men have completed the double here, winning the Rebel in the spring and the Southern 500 in the fall. Richard Petty was the double winner in 67, Leroy Yarborough in 69, Bobby Allison in 75, and then, of course, David Pearson last year in 76. And Cale Yarborough still hanging on to the lead as Waltrip starts to go by. He's got him. Turn number 1. Waltrip regains the lead. He's had the lead most of the race. So Cale is back in second place. Then in third place, David Pearson, Donnie Allison in fourth. All right, Jackie Stewart is down in the pit area with Richard Petty. Jackie, what's the story?
Richard, how does it feel?
Well, it feels good now that I got out of the car, but every time I go in a corner, just take my breath, and I just couldn't hold my breath that long.
Was it a case of thinking that if you had another accident of any kind, it would obviously be more serious because of your injury?
Well, you know, it was kind of a deal that it was hurting so bad. If I got in a real tight place, I was afraid I couldn't get out of it, so I felt like it was better to get out and let Dave have it.
So Dave Marcus is going to continue for you?
Well, yeah, as long as he can, and if he has to have relief, I can get back in.
Would you think of getting back in today?
Yeah, if he wants me at the last of the race, I get back inside again.
Well, no wonder Richard is sore. He smacked the wall at Bristol at 100 miles an hour last week and has been heavily taped all across his chest and shoulder ever since that time. I give him a very game go for even getting in this race. All right, it's Darrell Waltrip in the lead. Cale Yarborough in second place. David Pearson has moved to third, and it's Donnie Allison in fourth place. By the way, the threat of rain now has increased tremendously as Cale Yarborough now goes by Darrell Waltrip, and he takes the lead. We've been advised by the Weather Bureau that their radar indicates that we have very heavy rain showers in the area. And so I anticipate that we're going to have some hot going here, because if we do get a rain delay or perhaps even a stop because of rain, the car in the lead, if we've completed more than half the race, would win the race. And that, of course, has happened before. Yarborough in the lead, and Darrell Waltrip is right behind him.
These two cars seem to be the real pace setters. They seem to be the fastest cars on the racetrack right now. There's Darrell Waltrip trying to get underneath once more, and he does it. Once again, a clean pass by Darrell Waltrip, a young driver, one of the newer drivers, not one of the old boys from the south, as they're called down here in the stock car circuit, but certainly Cale Yarborough is one of the old boys. He's certainly racing hard with Darrell Waltrip. Great new season for this young man, Waltrip.
Speaking of the good old boys, our Grand Marshal today is the first brother. Billy Carter rode in the pace car as the Grand Marshal of this race.
David Pearson in the picture in car number 21 with Benny Parsons behind him. Then Donnie Allison, these drivers. And we have another accident, another crash there. The car spinning down the racetrack.
Car number 75, that's Butch Hartman. And car number 98 is wedged right up against the wall. That's Roland Lodajka. He is in his first race. As a matter of fact, so is Butch Hartman from the USAC circuit. So the yellow is out once again. Not a serious accident. As you can see, Lodajka's car is moving away. This yellow flag gives us an opportunity to show you what we think is some spectacular footage. Cale Yarborough allowed us to put a camera both inside and outside of his car. Now keep in mind as you view this footage and you hear his comments that this is not speeded up. This is exactly as it is.
Down a very narrow back stretch. Going into number 3, you have to come down. Drift up a little bit. This is a real tricky part of the racetrack. Getting into number 4, coming out of number 4. Just puts you right up in there. Back down into turn 1. Going low. Let it drift out up against the start there. Now down the back stretch. Real tricky, getting into turn 3, drift up high, hard to call all the time. The wall just jumps right out after.
So those were the comments of Cale Yarborough made earlier in that spectacular segment filmed in practice. And now we have the yellow flag out. The cars are in, getting tires and fuel. Darrell Waltrip in car number 88. And there goes car number 21, David Pearson. As they move out on the race course now, we anticipate we're going to have a green very, very shortly. There's Benny Parsons and, an accident right at the exit of the pit roll. Richard Brooks smacked right into the side of Benny Parsons in car number 72. It looks like Brooks is almost out of control as he rams through into the infield.
He goes right down there. He almost knocks over that marshal or official up there in that tower there, but he seemed to have his throttle stuck on the floor there. He seemed to be going much faster. And here's Benny Parsons coming up the track the wrong way, coming into the pits the wrong way. He's being turned round again. Benny, I'm not sure what he's doing. Obviously reversing back into the pit there to get some work done on this, what must be a damaged car right now. Accelerating. And he's continuing out. He's going right back out onto the racetrack. I can't imagine why he came in, Bill, because he didn't stop or have any work done. And, of course, we've got this yellow flag once again. That was an extraordinary accident. The pit crew really upset. And there's the car with Richard Brooks climbing out of that car. The car's badly damaged. He's obviously out of the race. The barrier was knocked right out of the ground itself. Brooks, obviously annoyed, walking away with angry thoughts.
Well, I imagine what his temperature is right now is about 175. And as we still look at these angry clouds overhead, we have the yellow flag out. Well, the weather news here at Darlington Raceway is on the gloomy side. It started to rain, and the Weather Bureau has advised us there are some heavy showers coming in off the ocean there to the east, and that means that we are not going to be able to continue racing for at least a little while. And so the rain gear is out. Out come the umbrellas and the plastic raincoats and anything else that you have to cover yourselves up. The red flag is being given to the cars now, and they will line up in the order in which they are at the present time on lap 189 of this race. So more than half the race has been completed. In first place is Donnie Allison, then Buddy Baker, then Darrell Waltrip in third, David Pearson is fourth, and Cale Yarborough is fifth. And when we do get a restart, that's the way they will go. Let's join Keith Jackson now at the New York State's Firemen's Competition. Hello once again from the Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. Bill Fleming along with Jackie Stewart, happy to report that the rain has ended here. The cars have taken some 20 laps under the yellow to dry the track out. Since they could not be worked on or serviced during the red flag, when the cars were parked, we've had quite a rash of pit stops and a scramble in the lead. Now, we're going to get a green. You'll see Darrell Waltrip in the lead. Now, the Petty car, number 43, is a lap down. In second place, right alongside, is Cale Yarborough. And we have a green flag. We're back racing again. And so here is the order as we get the restart. Waltrip in the lead, Yarborough second, David Pearson third, Donnie Allison fourth, Buddy Baker is fifth. Then one lap behind is Dave Marcus, driving in relief for Richard Petty. Then Lenny Pond is next. 2 laps down is Benny Parsons in car number 72.
But the 2 lead cars, Darrell Waltrip and Cale Yarborough, are still well out in front of everybody else. One man I see walking around the pit still with his racing overalls on is Richard Petty. So Dave Marcus is driving his car, but Richard may have some idea of getting back in. Earlier on, I spoke to some of the drivers about the famous 4th turn at this Darlington Speedway, a very difficult corner indeed.
You can affect your lap speeds in that end of the racetrack by as much as a second and a half if you don't make it through that turn properly. So that's where you got to make your time.
You can get in trouble quicker on turn 4 probably than you can in the rest of the corners.
Many times I've had a car very comfortable at Daytona, and I'm never comfortable here.
It's a turn that you could run through 100 times and get through it perfect, and then that 101st time it'll just jump right out and get you. I think really that it's the most dangerous turn in all of racing.
That was the 4th turn at Darlington, and all those drivers that you saw and heard speaking about the 4th turn have had some kind of a mishap there at one time in their careers. And right now, it's Cale Yarborough, who grew up some 12 miles from here at Timmonsville, South Carolina, chasing Darrell Waltrip, who won the Rebel race here in the spring. So we have 2 drivers who really know their way around this race course, setting the pace. Look how close they come to that wall, the number 4 turn here at Darlington.
It's really a difficult corner as they come down there. Remember, thinking back of the footage that we saw here just in the last segment of the show, how close these cars do come to the wall round here in Darlington. The drivers not getting any chance to get away from concentration. A very short racetrack, 1.366 miles around here. No time for the driver to relax. It's very physically tiring. A high banking in the oval there. It's 26 degrees of banking, and it's very difficult. And there's a car going loose there. He's getting up to the top of the banking there. He hits the guardrail, but he's collected it remarkably well.
That was Sam Summers in car number 27, and we do not have a caution light. Despite the mishap that caused Sam Summers to go out of the race a few moments ago, they're still racing under the green. We did not have a yellow, and we have a fierce battle for the lead. Great racing, and this is what brings the fans out year after year here at Darlington. Cale Yarborough and Darrell Waltrip locked back and forth. I think they've had the lead changed 12 times here in the last couple of laps. One will lead half a lap, the other will take the draft and go into the lead again. Jackie, I've never seen anything like it.
No, and of course it's a very tight little racetrack. There's not a lot of room for anything to go wrong or anyone to get out of shape. And this is where you see the precision of this kind of driving with 2 very talented drivers. Cale Yarborough, enormous experience, and of course Darrell Waltrip, the new young tiger of NASCAR racing, a greatly improved driver, a mature driver. Look how he got under Cale Yarborough, and Cale was very high there. Cale was almost on the wall there. I'm sure he got a little bit of a stripe on the wall as he came out of that turn there, very high.
Let's say a word about the condition of the track. Because of that heavy rain, we have a clean track right now, and I think the drivers are starting to get a very good grip with their tires as they come through traffic.
Yeah, they're being able to use the track almost as they will, and this is the great thing you see of these cars when they can use any part of the racetrack. It's a very impressive thing to see cars that really work, because if the suspension's properly tuned, they can go low occasionally to get through traffic. A car that doesn't handle well can only really go through in one groove, and this you can't see at the moment. Look how close they're getting here, and they're really tucked in behind that 40 car there.
That's DK Ulrich. He doesn't get out of the way, and we've got cars spinning all over the track. Both leaders are out of it, as Cale Yarborough is still spinning down the track. The yellow flag goes out immediately. Waltrip is slid through on the inside, and we have both leaders now who have dropped by the wayside. We don't know whether they're going to be out or not, but the yellow is out, and that means Donnie Allison has inherited the lead, and David Pearson is right behind him. There were other cars involved there too, Jackie. I think that is car number 68. That's Janet Guthrie, who has turned back, headed up toward the track. She got involved in spinning as the other cars went. One went down in the infield. There's D.K. Ulrich's car. I don't know exactly what happened, but it looked to me as if he didn't give way.
He didn't give way, but it looked also, I'm afraid, as if Darrell Waltrip gave him a little tap in the rear end, and you see another car there. Terry Bivens has been involved in the accident. Look at the smoke coming out of his car. These are the tires that are smoking. And there you see a very forlorn car of Cale Yarborough. My goodness, that's had a big impact as he tries to get back to the pits. He's driving very quickly. That accident happened going into turn 3. A very exciting piece of driving there. Here we can see it in slow motion, and you can see the contact that Cale's had. He seems to be doing a beautiful pirouette down this racetrack, spinning almost in control. He just misses the wall there and then comes into contact really heavily with that concrete wall high on the racetrack of turn 3, heading towards turn 4 now, and not his normal line we would have to recognize. Not a good way for this race to go for these two guys. Now here we see again in slow motion perhaps the beginning of this accident. They come down behind this car number 40, and Darrell Waltrip thinks he's going to move over, but he doesn't. They come into contact there. He doesn't hit him straight because the 40 car heads towards the wall, then just taps, and that's the contact patch there. Taps Yarborough's car as he starts to spin, and of course going towards the infield there is Darrell Waltrip. He hits the barrier hard there, the concrete wall on the bottom there very hard. What a mess.
And I think you're going to see something rather unusual here. Waltrip actually backed right in, there he is, right into the pit area on the backstretch. They do have pits back there, of course, so he got out of the way quickly, but now they've got Cale Yarborough's car, and some sheet metal work definitely has to be done here to get that car out and running. Of course, he is the point leader by some 130 points over Richard Petty to try to win his second straight Grand National Driving Championship.
A lot of work being done on that car. The chassis must be bent. It certainly is never going to handle the same on this racetrack today, even if they can get it back in there. The driver's still in the car, so he must think something's being done. There, they're pushing him out. They're telling him to go out, do at least one more lap, and feel how the car is. And here is Darrell Waltrip's car being pushed in.
All four tires are flat, Jack.
Absolutely. Look at the smoke pouring off of these. The wheels are turning, but the tires themselves are being rubbed against the wheel arches, the mud guards, as we call them back over our way. And look at the steam and the heat coming off there as that car gets brought in.
So the mean old lady at Darlington jumps up and snaps both leaders, Darrell Waltrip and Cale Yarborough. The yellow flag is out, and we'll be back in just a moment. Darrell Waltrip is still behind the wall after that spectacular accident. Cale Yarborough miraculously is out on the race course, and there are the tires off Darrell's car, Jackie.
Yes, these are the tires you see there, the safety tires. The inner lining is in the inside there. The tire went flat on the outside, a great safety factor of these NASCAR tires, and there's a very dejected Darrell Waltrip, obviously disappointed, perhaps knows that he started the whole commotion.
All right, they're back racing once again, and it's David Pearson in the lead. Buddy Baker is second. Donnie Allison is third. Donnie almost won this race in 76, and then one lap down is Lenny Pond. Dave Marcus driving for Richard Petty. Cale Yarborough is now sixth lap down. Then 2 laps down is Benny Parsons. And now we notice that Darrell Waltrip is going back on the course, but he's going to be somewhere around 4 laps down. Here is a pass with Donnie Allison getting by Buddy Baker. So Donnie Allison now has taken over second place and sets chase after David Pearson in car number 21.
Isn't it amazing how Pearson always seems to come up? He's one of the real great stock car drivers, very talented driver, very intelligent. The Grey Fox, they call him, because he seems to use that intelligence in the wiliest way. He seems to come forward just at the right time in a race.
He has won here more than anybody else. He's had 7 wins at Darlington, 6 Rebels and 1 Southern 500, which came a year ago. Now as they start to wind their way through traffic, it's Donnie Allison who's right up behind David Pearson, and right behind Donnie is Buddy Baker. What racing we have, even though we were delayed quite a long time because of extensive rain showers. They are certainly making up for it here.
To begin with, there was 2 cars racing head-to-head against each other, and now we see at this part of the race 2 cars also, and this time it's Pearson and, of course, Donnie Allison, one of the Allison brothers. Bobby Allison went out very early in the race, but brother Donnie is certainly holding the family flag well, and, of course, there also in the picture was Buddy Baker, whose father's watching him here today. His father, who's won the Darlington racetrack in various different events on 3 occasions, and Buddy Davis. Oh, and an accident, a big accident. Lenny Pond, one of the cars, Ralph Jones, and look at the impact. Ralph Jones really getting knocked. The driver himself, he's got his head forward. The car's caught in fire. It's smoking. It's not a petrol fire, it's an oil fire, because you can see that black smoke coming out there, but the driver's unconscious.
Ralph Jones is still in the car, and the emergency crews are going to try to get to him as quickly as possible. This accident occurred right in front of us on the main straightaway, and Jackie, I think you'd better get down there and see if we can find out from anybody what really happened. Also, Lenny Pond's car is up against the retainer wall. He seems to be okay, but they're trying now to get the fire out. Also, a little fire takes place at the rear of the Jones car near the fuel tank. And immediately the crew goes back there to try to put that out. Also get the trunk hood up and see if there's fire in there. And now they can't get him out. They're trying to break that mesh down to try to get to the driver himself. That car was just a flaming meteor as it went by us here on the home straightaway. And now Jackie Stewart has gone down below and I believe has Lenny Pond with him, who was running 4th at the time of the mishap.
Lenny, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, Jackie. The car's tore up pretty bad, and, you know, it's just one of those things, I guess, that happens at Darlington sometimes.
What happened, Lenny?
Well, I was passing a red car. I think it was 08 or 68 or something. I don't even know the number. And just as I got my door passed, we got together, and instead of just giving me a spin, it sort of knocked me sideways and just set in the 4-wheel drift and just went right into the wall. There's nothing I could do but hang on and wait for it to stop.
Famous turn 4.
Yeah, turn 4. I think we made it all right. We just got together up there, and I guess it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other.
Looked like you had a very heavy impact.
Well, it did. The first one was real hard, and the second one got it. It didn't feel like it's quite as hard, but I think he got it real hard right in front of me in the wall. I'm just glad we didn't get together again real bad, you know.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
What you think of, Jackie? I hope he's all right.
Now you can see on the replay the hazard of the other cars coming down that main straightaway, trying to avoid the car of Ralph Jones, the rookie from Upton, Kentucky. We'll be back in just a moment. Rookie driver Ralph Jones has been taken out of his car. He is conscious, we understand, and now they will take him to the ambulance and immediately take him to the field hospital. And if his injuries are too extensive, of course, they'll fly him by helicopter on into Florence. But he's sitting up, Jackie. He looks, for a crash like that, he looks pretty good.
I think he's a very lucky man. I thought really when I saw that accident there was a tragedy in our hands, and of course this is another great thing about the NASCAR racing, the safety of these cars. But look at the wall, Bill. This wall has really been demolished. The Armco barrier as well as that concrete wall. You can see Bill France Jr. there with his radio. And here we have a replay of this accident again. You can see the impact involved here. Lenny Pond, the blue car on the right, and Ralph Jones's car coming in, slamming into the wall. Now look at the car being thrown into the air. It could easily have come over that wall, into the pits even perhaps. Think of what could have happened there.
Well, I prefer not to, Jackie, and it's a very groggy Ralph Jones who's been taken now to the field hospital. It's going to be some time before they repair the concrete retaining wall, which looks like an artillery shell went through it. That means we're going to have another delay here at Darlington. Right now, let's return to Keith Jackson for more of the firemen's competition. Bill Fleming, along with Jackie Stewart, back at the Southern 500 in Darlington, South Carolina. We are on lap number 300 with 67 to go, and here's how things stand. Car number 1, the red car that you see there, is leading the race. That's Donnie Allison. And then 2 cars behind is David Pearson. The car between, going there to the left, is Darrell Waltrip, running 9th now, 7 laps down. So as they stand on the race course at this moment, those are the 2 cars, Donnie Allison and David Pearson, the defending champion of the Southern 500. We've had an exciting afternoon. We've had a lot of rain. We've had spectacular accidents. We have 25 cars running in this race right now.
We've had good racing too, and I don't think anyone at this time would grudge Donnie Allison the lead that he's got, because Donnie Allison, one of the drivers who's most favoured down by the fans in these Southern stock car races, is a man who's had a relatively dry period of real success. The man behind him, however, David Pearson's a man who has had a lot of success, the sort of man who you would expect always to be up front. One of the men who always seemed to be racing against the Richard Pettys, the Cale Yarboroughs, and of course the Allison brothers too. But Donnie at this time is certainly no bridesmaid. He's in the number 1 position.
I think we ought to mention too that a year ago, Donnie Allison led most of this race, and then all of a sudden on the 170th lap, he blew a water pump. It spread water everywhere, and he went flying, skidding in his own juices, so to speak.
This great racetrack, the Darlington racetrack, the 26 degree of banking that Donnie Allison's going right round now. It's a small racetrack in relation to some of the super speedways. It's only 1.36 miles around. It's very tight. An enormous crowd have come to this event, a very popular event. Two of the most popular events in the year at Darlington, the major races.
Here comes the leader, Donnie Allison in the red car, right up behind Cale Yarborough, who moves over. Cale right now currently in 5th place, and he now drops 2 laps behind the leader as Donnie Allison puts a lap on him. That right front part of Cale's car has been redesigned somewhat, not exactly aerodynamically sleek right now, but he was involved back on lap 235 in an accident, so let's replay that one again, Jackie Stewart.
3 cars were involved. Ulrich's car is the lead car. Waltrip tapped Ulrich's car just at that moment there. He started to spin round and hit Cale Yarborough, just tapped him in the rear end. Yarborough spun all the way down the racetrack. Waltrip went to the inside of the racetrack, collided with the wall in the inside of the track, while Cale Yarborough pirouetted down the racetrack, spinning without hitting very much, until he came into contact right now, right at this point, and that's the damage that you saw in the car just a few moments ago as the car went back out onto the racetrack and he was lapped for the second time. It was a question of Cale Yarborough being put out of contention for the lead, although the car is still running, even with the amount of damage that you see there.
And there was another accident happening on lap 250.
This time at turn 4, where Ralph Jones and Lenny Pond came together. Lenny Pond's on the right-hand side in the blue car, Ralph Jones in the red car, getting into the wall right there, the concrete wall being destroyed, the Amco barrier being destroyed. The car slithers down the racetrack, the driver out of control, suddenly spitting fire and flame out of the car. The driver unconscious, went down the racetrack for a good 250 yards before coming to a stop. I had an opportunity to go and see this car in the garage area slightly later on with our crew to see the extensive damage done to this vehicle. Bill, I'm down with Ralph Jones's car. It's already been put onto the trailer, but you can see fuel is still leaking from underneath the car. Look at the damage. Look at the impact that this accident has caused. But the most important thing of all, the driver has been protected by this rollover cage, or almost survival cell that NASCAR built into their cars. The steering wheel, the steering column have been badly damaged. Even the pedals have been badly damaged. The seat has been buckled. The driver got out of this alive, and he could only have done that, I think, by the good protection that has been into this car, the enormously heavy car, 3,700 pounds, and the way that NASCAR make the regulations of safety.
It truly is miraculous that Ralph Jones came out of that car unscathed. He only has minor burns around the face and hands, and that is good news from the field hospital here at Darlington, South Carolina. Now quite a race continuing as we have Donnie Allison in the lead. Just 3.5 seconds behind is David Pearson, who won this race last year, and Buddy Baker right there flashes by in 3rd place. Any one of those cars could win it. They're on the same lap right now. Then Dave Marcus in car number 43 is 1 lap down, driving in relief of Richard Petty today, and Cale Yarborough is 2 laps down in 5th place. Now, coming into the pits is Donnie Allison, the leader. This will be the last pit stop of the day. David Pearson flashes by in the lead. This will be a crucial stop.
The crew waiting for him there. They're getting the gas tank filled up there. They're getting the windstream clean. Obviously, no tires or anything else being changed at this time. They're pushing the car away. A remarkable pit stop, very fast indeed. Just around the 7-second mark as he accelerates out of pit lane, trying to get back onto that racetrack and up to speed as quickly as possible.
A 7-second pit stop for Donnie Allison, just time to gulp enough fuel to let him go the remaining distance. And now the question will be, can the Wood Brothers crew get David Pearson out quicker than that? Because David Pearson now has the lead, but he has to have fuel also. Incidentally, right behind him is Darrell Waltrip, but Waltrip is something like 7 laps down.
And there's the famous Wood Brothers. They've told him already to come in on the radio. They've got that pit board out to show him which is his pit when he comes into pit lane. The Wood Brothers, famous around the world for their successful pit stops, and now they're going to have to work in car number 21.
He's slowing down. Here comes David Pearson into the pits. Boy, this is really going to be tight. Donnie Allison did a 7-second pit stop. This will be the final stop for Pearson. They've got the gas tank ready to go. Oh, he hardly even stopped. That's about 3 seconds.
It looked as if it was almost a mistake there. It's almost as if he was waved out before the fuel tank was properly disconnected from the car. I wonder if he's got enough fuel in to do the race.
I don't know how you can pour fuel that fast in 3 seconds, but there's Donnie Allison. Donnie Allison is coming up behind and he is still, according to our clock, a couple of seconds down. We'll be back for the finish of this race in a moment. The Wood Brothers crew now counting laps, wondering if they have enough fuel in that car for David Pearson to go the distance. He right now has a 4-second lead on Donnie Allison. As you see Pearson coming up on Dave Marcus in car number 43. He's driving today in relief of Richard Petty. Now as the camera catches the second car, there's Donnie Allison coming by, just about 4 seconds behind in second place. And David Pearson is coming up on the slower car. If he passes Marcus here, he will put him 2 laps down. And as they come by, we have 4 laps to go, Jackie, 4 to go.
And David Pearson is obviously carefully choosing the place to pass Dave Marcus there in the car number 43 because he doesn't want to get himself into a difficult situation, a potentially dangerous situation so close to the end of the race, and he's therefore being very, very cautious as to where he chooses to put his nose in there, because what a mistake it would be to have a little accident this late in a race.
All right, we might mention to you also that Janet Guthrie in car number 68 is still in the running, although in 16th place in the standings. Now Marcus moves over. David Pearson will put the lap on him right here. So Marcus now in 4th place is 2 laps down. Cale Yarborough in 5th is also 2 laps down. 3 cars running in the same lap. And there they are, David Pearson, Donnie Allison, and Buddy Baker. And when they come by the grandstand this next time, they'll have 2 laps to go. Let me remind you, some outstanding NASCAR racing coming up in the future. Tomorrow, October the 9th, it'll be the National 500 in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then on October the 23rd, it'll be the American 500 at Rockingham, North Carolina.
You see the difference there between these cars with only 2 laps to go. The lead car, David Pearson, the white and red car there, and behind him, Donnie Allison, and there you can see Donnie Allison coming into the picture. The Pearson crew, as far as I'm concerned, must be biting their fingernails right now, because I wonder if they've got enough fuel in that car to last the whole distance.
Well, they only made about a 3-second pit stop, just enough to slosh some fuel in there to get David across that finish line, and I do imagine they're somewhat concerned about whether they got enough in. There's Dave Marcus coming up behind Pearson, and there right in front is Buddy Baker, and the white flag goes out for David Pearson. So Buddy Baker is in front. He has a chance of being lapped here, although I doubt it, and exactly 3 seconds separates David Pearson from Donnie Allison with less than half a lap to go. Here comes Donnie down the backstretch. It doesn't look like Donnie Allison is going to make it today as David Pearson now comes around into turn 4. Everybody standing down the main straightaway. David Pearson on the verge of winning his 8th race here at the Darlington Raceway. The white flag is out for Buddy Baker, and the checkered flag goes out for David Pearson, who wins the Southern 500, the 28th running of the granddaddy of them all. And he wins it by 2.8 seconds over Donnie Allison. And there is great joy among the Wood Brothers crew. Yes, they did have enough gas in the gas tank for David to finish the race, and win it he does. Only his 2nd win of the season. He won the 1st race at Riverside, has had a bit of a drought since that time, but is now pulling into victory lane. Jackie Stewart is there waiting to greet David Pearson, and of course it's a very happy guy who will wheel that Wood Brothers Mercury up to the ramp and to receive the victory celebration. So right now, let's go down to Jackie Stewart and hear what the winner has to say.
Yeah.
Well done, David. Pretty happy.
Thank you, Jackie. I've begun to wonder whether I can make it or not.
That's the 2nd straight one for you.
Yeah, this is second 500. I think it's about the 7th or 8th time that I've won here, though.
Right, but what a hard race.
It was hard. I guess I run about as hard as I've ever run. You know, I run all hard all day long, and there were just too many of them Chevrolets to contend with.
What about the temperature?
It was hot, and I guess the rain really helped me because it was real hot. Of course, when the sun come back out, everything seemed to be all right.
Well, the old fox did it again.
Well, thank you, Jackie.
All the best.
All right, thank you, Jackie. And the old fox did do it again. David Pearson, the winner. Donnie Allison, 2nd. Buddy Baker, 3rd. The Richard Petty car, number 43, driven by Dave Marcus. Most of the race finished 4th. Cale Yarborough, 5th. And Darrell Waltrip, 6th. Bill Fleming, along with Jackie Stewart, saying so long from Darlington.